Yo, 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 what's the deal, everybody and family? Welcome back to another episode of the Black Sheep, a place where we keeps it real, we keeps it consistent, and above all, man, we keeps love. It's your man's Abstract, the host, you know what I'm saying? And I got a special guest in the building. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, y'all. Hey, it's your favorite rich auntie. I always say that whenever I do any of my social media content, but I am Dr. Meag, the National Executive Producer, Director, and CEO of the Miss Plus America National Pageant System.
Oh, man, look, we got big wigs in the building. Let me tell y'all something. We're going to have a real special episode today, okay? I'm so excited.
I'm excited to be here.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know who I was sitting to that night when I came in, okay? You know what I'm saying? So
Me either.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was divine intervention.
Facts.
You feel me?
God don't make no mistakes.
For sure. Man, we're going to have a good episode. Today we're going to be talking about balance, not only in our life, you know what I'm saying, but in our mental processes, as artists as well, in our businesses, you know what I'm saying. So I want to just go ahead and start the episode off with pointing out that not only are you Miss Plus America, you know what I'm saying, but you also have your own legal firm as
That is
well.
correct.
You know what I'm saying? So
And I'm a judge for the city of Houston. I don't know if you picked up on that.
It's not big judge for the city of Houston, you know what I'm saying? So those of y'all that might need a little assistance, you know what I'm saying?
Call me.
Y'all go ahead and hit her up. We'll have the information for that at the end. So tell me, like, how did you first of all decide that these two areas of life was what your calling was and what you wanted to do?
Well, I didn't make that decision. You know, again, God don't make no mistakes, right?
Right.
I didn't make this decision. I always said that, like, I didn't choose family law. Family law chose me. It's kind of this natural progression of life that just kind of happens for you. So obviously, I went to law school back in my 20s and became an attorney. I thought I was going to be a criminal defense attorney, but ended up being a family attorney instead.
Right.
So that was one, kind of veering off of the path that I didn't expect to happen. And then I found plus size pageantry in 2013.
Oh, wow.
And I competed at the Texas Plus America pageant and won. That was my first time competing in a beauty pageant, and I won. Nice. And so then I went on to the national pageant, and I was fourth runner-up. I called it first loser, but I found my place. I found my people. I found this band of women who were all about uplifting one another and body positivity, coming from a Black Sheep place where this was back in 2013 before, being plus size was cool.
Right.
So, and I feel like we were part of that movement that created the space for curvy women, plus size women, or just non-traditional skinny women.
Right.
To be successful in the beauty industry.
Right.
So that was where I found myself. I became the pageant attorney. I ended up winning at some point the Mrs. Plus America title in 2017. And then God placed on my heart and made it available for me to be able to purchase the national pageant system.
Right.
And so that's what happened. That's where we are now.
Right. Wow. That's pretty dope. So congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
And all your accolades is pretty dope. What was like your biggest challenge as far as confidence building to allow you to veer off from the legal side and say, yeah, this is what I can do as well?
It was the people.
The people.
No question about it. We call this a rhinestone sisterhood, and now I call it a rhinestone family. It's my pageant sisters, my rhinestone sisters, my rhinestone mothers, my pageant mothers, and fathers now too. Those of us who have been here before. So now I've been in this world for over a decade. And now I'm starting to be people's pageant mothers. And and when people call me that, I'm just like, no, I'll be your favorite rich auntie.
Yeah.
But I ain't got no kids, y'all. I'm not trying to be your mama, and especially not to no 35-year-old woman, right?
Right. Especially not in this day either. You know what I'm saying?
No, I am too cute, and there's entirely too much Botox in the world for me to be a 35-year-old woman's mother.
No, real talk.
But so what it is we uplift each other. I mean, it's, you think about type A personality women tend to be catty, and of course there's the cattiness. There's, women but in pageantry, in my experience, and what I promote in the Miss Plus America pageant system is this sisterhood, this importance of, you might not be here today for the crown. That might not be your purpose in life. But what your purpose in life is definitely going to be met here today somehow, some way. Right? Like, if your purpose is to be better for yourself or to be better for somebody else, you're going to meet your new best friend. You're going to meet your new lifelong friend in pageantry. And you're going to meet people that are going to show you how to be the best version of yourself that you could possibly be.
Right.
And once you find your people, whatever that is, whether it be pageantry or sports or, the right profession, once you find that, then your confidence is really just kind of there, ready for the taking, right?
Yes.
Ready to be great.
I agree. I definitely agree. I want to make a comparison. I saw, like I said, I saw some of your TikTok content, and I noticed that, in some of them you're teaching, your models how they should be walking, down the runway, not to look so boxy, how your elbows in, hands in a certain part of your waist.
Yeah, check out my TikToks. Like there's good stuff there.
Exactly. And it got me thinking really hard about how we mentally lead our lives, as people when we're pursuing our professions or our goals, and how, we need to be able to incorporate that type of knowledge in our thought processes, to be more organized and how we set out our goals, and how we interact with the people around us, like you're saying, don't have your elbows out. Could be easily, watch your presentation. That presentation is a big thing, when people see you for the first time or they hear you speak for the first time, that's going to let them know a lot about you.
Right.
Saying? And so with that being said, also in comparison with the legal side of things, a presentation is a big thing.
Indeed.
You got to come right in order to prove yourself and to prove your side and what you stand for.
Yeah, jurors are not going to believe you if you don't seem confident already.
Right. So what would you say is the difference between how you view somebody's presentation in the pageant world and how you view somebody's presentation when you're being a judge?
Well, the first one is the evening gown.
Yeah.
I hope you don't come in the courtroom wearing an evening gown.
Right.
No, but seriously, there's actually not a lot of difference. And I've said multiple times, when I started to train for pageantry at the beginning of my pageantry career, I used the interview skills that I was learning for pageant interview, and I applied them to interview I have been a judge since 2017, but I've been a pageant girl since 2013.
Right.
And when I interviewed for my position, because I was appointed, I definitely was through and through a pageant girl. Right. All day long. I came in there, obviously I was dressed appropriately, my hair and makeup and all of that. Your grooming is appropriate for the setting. But the presentation, this very best version and presentation of yourself that you can give, you're supposed to bring that every time you interview. And that's very similar and very true for pageantry. I would say, though, the biggest difference, though, certainly for me when I first started pageantry, was I wasn't accustomed to being judged on my looks.
Right.
That is, I'd been an attorney for quite some time already. I hadn't been a judge yet. But I was accustomed to speaking in public. I was accustomed to speaking on a microphone and in front of people and, selling whatever I'm here to sell. But standing in front of that microphone, wearing all of the things with your hair and makeup, and you're trying to recite this one thing and knowing that they're judging you on other things other than the law. Right. For me, that was the biggest struggle. Right. Because, when I go into court, I got the law behind me and I know I can't lose, or I know where my, holes are. I know what I might lose on or what I might need to be prepared to argue against. But pageantry, it's like, it's all about what the judges see and think. Right. It's opinion based.
So how did you adapt? What were the different practices that you had to incorporate for yourself, even as a person? Because I know that the beliefs could be clashing on both sides. You know what I'm saying? So how did you have to adapt to be able to find a moral balance for yourself?
Well, believe it or not, I think the belief systems tend to fall. I mean, I'm a rules person. Right. I have my undergraduate degree is from Texas A&M in mathematics. So for me, A plus B equals C. Pythagorean theorem is what it is. Right. The law is what it is. So with pageantry, it's a little bit more subjective from the judge's perspective, but still I approach things it's, it's like with anything, practice makes progress. I hate to say practice makes perfect.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But practice makes progress. And the more time that you spend working on progressing
Right.
in even in your strength areas, but in your areas of weakness,
Exactly.
you'll start to feel more confident about. So like for me, I wasn't confident in my walk because I didn't know how to walk. I mean, I knew how to walk,
Right.
but I didn't know how to walk in a way that people who were judging me on my walk would give me a high score.
Yeah.
I didn't know what they were looking for.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to pose.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew how to pose for a picture, but those weren't that great. I had to study and learn that and practice it and become better.
Exactly.
And the more time I spent at it, just like with the practice of law, the more time I spent at it, the more I felt very comfortable and confident in my ability.
Exactly. I 100% agree with that. I'd be harping and preaching on that all the time. Practice, practice, practice. Work at it. That that repetitiveness is going to build that up for you. You know what I'm saying? Whatever skill that you're deciding to pursue. So I definitely stand behind that 100%.
Yeah, they're words to live by. I mean, if you expect to be great at anything, it's not going to just happen by osmosis, like in your sleep. Right. You're going to have to work at it.
You got to put in that action every single time. You know, I be telling people sometimes it takes being harsh to yourself, you know what I'm saying, in order to push past that procrastination or wherever it is you might find yourself stuck at that's hindering you from taking the action to move forward and to do what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm big on pushing past my limits, you know what I'm saying, breaking that barrier and stuff like that.
That's how you get better.
All big time. And, I wasn't, I recently just started getting on that. I want to say in the past year and a half, because like I said, I was in a really bad accident. So, I was fighting really bad depression when it came to moving forward with my life. You know what I'm saying? In ways where it not only halted my progress as a person, you know what I'm saying, but it halted my life. You know what I'm saying? So, and like I said, I saw your content where you were speaking on that. So I want to know, what was it for you that had you in that depressive state? And what did you do to move out of it and also succumb it?
So it's an everyday struggle still. So let me start with this. First of all, my mommy was a psychiatrist.
Right.
So she actually, I think she got her degree in psychology because of her baby child, me, because I was just so much, very emotional. I was the child that I would cry when she dropped me off at daycare and I would cry when she picked me up from daycare. Like I was just, tears of joy. I get so overwhelmed sometimes with emotion that it's difficult for me to compartmentalize it and manage it.
Right.
So I've been like this all my life. And like I said, I grew up with somebody who helped me. She knew me better than anybody else on the planet. So she was able to help me as a child work through those things. So, obviously the drugs are great. They go a long way. The psychology of things, the treatment options that are available, those are all something that I did not realize I needed to stay on top of.
Right.
But then also what happened was here lately in the world of pageantry, we've had a lot of major suicides.
Right.
Like major, and obviously every suicide is major, but suicide that have happened from individuals who, like, for instance, I think her name is Chesley Christ. She was Miss America 2000. I can't remember the year. She apparently jumped off of a building in New York City a couple of years back. And then there was another little girl who was a meme, with so excited. She had brown hair with the pink background. And I remember using this meme all the time. Anytime I was so excited because she'd do this thing with her hands and, so excited. Yeah. She killed herself. And I remember being asked this question shortly after her suicide from somebody from Pageantry Magazine. What are your thoughts about all of these suicide? And the first thing I said, and I wasn't even actually expecting to answer this question or be asked this question, but my immediate reaction was, it's tears of a clown.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. Just because we show up with a smile on our face, with our hair pulled together and our makeup and a beautiful gown and we got the great walk, that is a shell of the person. What's going on the inside, we don't know. Right. Even the answer to the onstage question is not going to answer the question of what is this person going through on the inside. Right. And I don't know if it's more prevalent in pageantry or if it is just more prevalent now because people are talking about it in general. But I think with pageantry, that issue has presented itself so much because, oh, well, she just always seems so happy. No, she was smiling.
Right.
That's what we do as pageant girls. We smile.
Right, that's
we
our
put on a
job.
good face.
Yeah,
That's our
yeah,
job.
yeah.
And sometimes people, especially non-pageant girls, maybe they don't put on the smile. Maybe they don't have that ability to, sell something that's not really happening on the inside. And we're able to spot it a little bit easier than in the pageantry world. But I know for myself, like for instance, I'm not a mother and I've lost my mother. So Mother's Day is always very, very difficult for me. That was yesterday. And a lot of people called me and checked on me. And what I have learned in my 45 years on this planet now is that it is more important for me to recognize where my weakness is and prepare for it than to wait for it to happen.
Exactly.
Let it come to me. No, I go get it. I'm like, okay.
Let's go.
So yesterday I had plans. I didn't do an awful lot of, craziness, but I made sure that I kept myself busy. And I had my therapist on speed dial. I made sure that my meds were calibrated. Little anxiety medication goes a long way. And you'd be surprised at how much anxiety will debilitate your everyday life. So as long as you're staying on top of those things, it's easier to manage in bite size. Somebody said, how do you eat an elephant? One fork at a time.
Right. Exactly.
It's like that.
Agreed. So like, y'all, family, take note on that. When you're feeling yourself about to head to that stump, where you feel like you can't move forward and you're deep in that depression, do something. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, a hobby.
Talk to people.
Talk to somebody. Something that puts your mindset back in a positive state. You know what I'm saying? Do something. Don't just sit there and wallow in it because you're just going to keep drowning deeper. And eventually it's going to take a mental hold on your mind. Trust.
In your life.
In every aspect. You feel what I'm saying? That's very, very important. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that you have a therapist on speed dial. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that you can talk to.
Black people, we don't do this enough. Black people say you don't need a therapist, you need Jesus. No, I got Jesus, and I also have a therapist. Right. And a pharmacist.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
And a daddy and friends. And I lean on, it's not just prayer.
Right.
And the Bible says God helps he who helps himself.
Exactly.
And teach a man to fish and he'll eat for a lifetime.
Exactly.
These are all words to live by, especially when it comes to your own mental health and happiness.
Right. Exactly. We're not taught to just put blind faith in something and wait for it to happen. You know what I'm saying? You got to put that foot forward and make sure that you're pulling yourself closer toward it so that it can pull itself closer towards you. That's how life works.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So, and speaking of that, perfect segue, you know what I'm saying, into our next subject matter is, how you found that path of your success. We got our basic building blocks. You always keep your mind positive. You know what I'm saying? You know what you want to do and how you want to do it. But when it comes to the intricate details of, balancing both sides, because you know what I'm saying? In my opinion, that's some real black sheep behavior. You know what I'm saying? You got it down pack on both sides. So what's that secret recipe? You know what I'm saying? What is it that keeps you moving?
I would say you got to find something that you like and are good at,
right,
and then figure out how to make money doing it.
Right. Period. And that's what it is. That's what it is. People be missing how to make money doing what you like doing.
Yeah, because otherwise work is work.
Right.
You don't want work to be work. You want work to be fun. You want work to be beneficial, profitable, an opportunity for growth and, vacations and wealth, right? You want work to be the things that you enjoy out of life, not the things that you hate out of life.
Right.
And if you find happiness in your work, then it makes it easy to be successful and grow from there. And also don't live in a box. Don't my job is an XYZ job. Well, break those barriers down and figure out a way to make that job a business if you like doing it.
Right.
If not, then figure out a way to take what you're good at and do something that you like doing.
Exactly. Big time. I agree with that 100%. What's some advice that you would give some beginner pageantry people that want to step into this line of business?
Okay, well, so there's two different questions you asked me there. If you're a beginner to pageantry, I wouldn't suggest that you make this your business yet.
Right.
Because the first thing, and I think the thing that makes me a strong CEO in the pageant world is that I have not only competed in this system, but I have won the title. I've done it twice. I've competed in my own system twice before I owned it. So I have this insight, this perspective from a contestant and also from a leadership role, an executive role. And so my first advice is learn the system that you are wanting to compete in and be a part of. Learn it, get to know it, and be great at competing at that pageant. And when I say great at it, you got to win. Before you can become a pageant coach for a contestant that's competing in the Miss Plus America pageant system, I'm a firm believer that you have needed to at least coach somebody that's won that title, right? Just because you have won, a title or, something somewhere else doesn't make you qualified necessarily. So that's first and foremost. And then from there, like I said, practice makes progress. You need to hire professionals, hire people that know what they're doing so that you can learn. I mean, maybe YouTube University is a great place to start, but I wouldn't say that that's where you land. Right. People are professionals for a reason. You pay professionals for a reason. I have a whole TikTok video about that. Like I've got my Med Spa, M Spa Face and Body and JJ Smith and all of these people. Yeah. I hire them. I pay them money to make me great because I am great at talking or lawyering or maybe even pageanting, but I'm not great at makeup. Right. I definitely don't know how to do my own Botox, right?
Big time.
And I'm only great at walking because I hired somebody to teach me how to do it over the last 10 years. Right. So just making sure that you are exhausting your resources of what is available to you before you say I can't do it or I've already reached my ultimate goal. Exactly.
And make sure y'all figure out what those resources are.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do your homework, do your research, you know what I'm saying? Be knowledgeable about what it is you're trying to, pursue before you pursue it. You know what I'm saying? And say, oh, it's too hard or I can't or you give up. You know what I'm saying? This podcast didn't just come off a whim. I had no idea how to do this. I just knew I wanted to talk. You know what I'm saying? Change lives. That's it.
You got to start somewhere.
You know what I'm saying? That's it. So, I really appreciate, number one, not only that you took time out, today to come and do the episode, but number two, that you take your time out, in their everyday life to teach people not only how to be more of themselves, but how to move forward.
And be the best version of themselves. I'm not trying to turn you into something new. I'm trying to show you the best version of yourself you can be.
Exactly. And that's pretty dope. That is pretty dope. I am hungry, Miss Megan.
Yeah? You haven't eaten lunch yet?
I did. I ate breakfast.
It's always the tiny people. It's always the tiny people that are always the most hungry because you're probably burning the most calories or something.
I've been trying to get back in my little shape.
You're fighting
right? Yeah. No, for real. So the very last thing I want to talk about is how we adapt in our different areas of life. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, your career paths are definitely polar opposite. So obviously, I want to ask, how are you able to switch these different thought processes? How are you able to adapt from being a lawyer or a judge, to being a coach, and a pageant director, right?
Well, I code shift for one. Actually, I don't. It's funny because whenever I'm in court, I was in court today. Whenever I'm in court, people always seem to know that I'm a pageant girl in court. Even. Like I try cases like a pageant girl. There are some attorneys that are a little, scruffy or rough around the edges, or they're not as into their appearance as others. And obviously, a pageant girl, I've always got my lashes on and my face is done, and my hair. The honest truth is, I struggle more with the pageantry aspect of it because pageantry is all about grace and deference and extending your scepter. What queens do is they extend their scepter, and I'm gonna spare your life, or I'm gonna grant you grace on this or that. Like if you're late on your fees, okay, grace. I'm not so gracious naturally. Like I'm a judge and I'm a lawyer and I'm real black and white, and it's like well, let's see, what does the rule say here? Right. Oh, the rule says that your fees were due yesterday. They're late. I don't know. What do you?
Right. Well,
what do I do with that?
You read this just like I read this.
Just like everybody else read it.
Exactly.
Just like everybody else is going to follow the rules. So I struggle more with the pageantry aspect of giving grace. And that's why, Dr. Meag, she'll sue you.
Right.
Because I don't really play. And I think it's unfair to like have these wonky rules. If there's a black and white rule that applies to everyone, then everyone knows what the expectations are.
Right.
And it seems unfair to me to grant grace to one person and not the next. And that has a great place in the law.
Right.
Not so much for pageantry, though.
Right,
so that's where I struggle. And the way that I balance that is I have a whole staff that I refer to as my buffer system.
Yeah.
And they are filled with grace.
Right.
And so basically, by the time you get to Dr. Meag, I'm at the top of the helm.
Yeah.
By the time you get to me, you have already exhausted all of your resources.
Right.
And everybody knows that Dr. Meag is real black and white.
Right.
So the way that I balance that is I put a lot of sweet, kind, gracious people in front of me.
Before you get here.
Long before. So by the time you get to me, it's still not resolved. Well,
what? I gave you plethora of chances.
We plenty, and we got rules.
Right.
And I'm the rules queen. And so if there is a written rule on it, by the time you get to me, you know for a fact I'm going to the rules.
Right. And then another area I want to touch on, I noticed in your VPN interview that you had a while back with the type of questions that you get asked, you were real black and white in your answers back then too. So what kind of training and coaching did you have to go through to be able to know, okay, I need to be a little bit more roundabout with my answers when it comes to pageantry interviews?
Oh, I was terrible when I first started. In 2013, I did not know how to answer a pageant question to save my life.
Right.
And then I hired JJ Smith with Winterviews Pageant Coaching. Okay. And he coaches, he was on Mama June's from Not to Hot. He was her pageant coach when she competed in a pageant. And there's actually like a little blurb, a montage of, she says, well, who are you? And he said, well, let me tell you who I am. And then, he's like, I coach these, I've got 10 queens from here and 15 from there. And I've coached national queens all across the country and blah, blah, blah. And he's based here in Houston. So I have the benefit of, he is my guy. Anytime I am, actually, I use him for pageant interview, but if I ever had any type of interview that I was a little bit apprehensive about, I would consult with him about it. So there are experts in the field. Even though people pay me to speak for them as their lawyer, interviewing was it was a skill I needed to learn and refine and hone in on.
Right.
So I've been doing this now for 13 years.
Right.
And I've gotten a little bit better at it since I first started, but I still got a long way to go. We all could use a little practice.
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree with that, man. Thank you so much again for joining us today.
My pleasure.
You know what I'm saying? Can you let the people know where to find you at, what you got coming up, stuff like that?
Totally. Okay. Well, the National Miss Plus America pageant is happening this year in 2024 at the Hilton Post Oak Hotel in the Galleria. That's where all of the major mainstream pageants are held here in Houston. And that will be held July 29th through August 3rd. Prelims will be August 2nd. Finals is August 3rd. You can buy tickets on Eventbrite. That is the very next thing that's coming up.
Okay.
We do have a crowning ceremony coming up at the end of the month. And if you want to get more information about that, you can reach out to me on we have so many socials, right? So you can, I do a lot of TikTok. You can find me Dr. Dr_Meag, MEAG _ESQ, which is short for Esquire. And that's also my Instagram handle. You can find me on Facebook. You can find the National Miss Plus America pageant on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. All of my queens all have their own pages. So if you are just looking to get some information, if you want to see the pageant even, you can go to our socials. There's an entire video of last year's presentation on our Miss Plus America pageant page on Facebook. So and then, of course, our website is missplusamerica.com. So
appreciate you. Everything will be at the bottom of the screen, y'all, for spelling out. If you didn't catch it right there, so don't even worry about it. You already know what it is. Please like, subscribe, comment below, share. Let us know what you want to hear us talk about next. You know what I'm saying? The cash out for the Black Sheep is going to be right there at the bottom. If you want to see better content and more content, please donate. You already know what it is. We keeps it real. We keeps it consistent. And above all, man, we keeps love. We out. Till next episode.